care what they say about you. You're not as stupid as you look. What's up? All right. So welcome back, everybody.
What's up?
Welcome far. All right. So welcome back, everybody. We're fucking going live on a Friday night just to hang out for a few minutes, chill out with us, Xharlie Talks, and I got a special guest today. Got
Hey,
a quick
what's
chat.
up? I'm Angie. I don't know what else to have to say. Like,
I got a lot to add to that shit, but okay. So on that topic, let's get right into it, man. So thanks for coming by for sure. And well, let me just say this right off the top. I'm gonna fucking call you whatever I've called you since the beginning. So it's whatever it is. We've had this conversation, but it's only because like I said I knew you were fucked up from the time I met you. So whatever it is that's going on, like there was something already, like off. So you were not always Andy, right?
yeah, I wasn't always Andy, but I still have to be called Andy.
So that's where I wanted to start this conversation, and that's really where like the whole pronouns thing. I mean, call me fucking, outdated or whatever, but like, who gives a shit? Like, that's kind of where like I'm kind of trying to figure out like where people are so crazy, like fanatical or outraged about, getting called this or that. So that's what I really wanted to know. That's my hot button to like to you. Like, what does it matter?
So,
What's the reality of it? Whether I call you or bro or man.
because it's just what it feels like. It just feels wrong in a way that you feel like you've been taught what a man or a woman is, and it just feels awkward when you don't really feel like you fit into that description. So a lot of people just say like, "That's not me," because we
Right.
discover ourselves. We see that we prefer like when we're called a different gender or get confused by another gender. Like whenever you're out on the street and like before you even knew, like a lot of times, someone would mistake you, even if like, accident or something, and they would just be like, oh, I felt comfortable with that. And otherwise I just had this little thing in the back. The thing is a lot of us growing up, we're taught strong, so we hate ourselves, we just feel awkward and that we can't really express ourselves. Not sponsored though, not sponsored.
Not offered at all. That's right. Thanks for that down. But so go ahead. I'll cut you off.
Yeah, yeah.
It
So
doesn't feel right. Huh?
it just doesn't feel right. Like putting like oversimplifying it, and I cannot stress enough how oversimplified this is, but like you knew yourself as Charlie, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was named. That's kind of where I'm going with this. Is like, so how do I say this? Like, my name's Carlos,
Right.
right? I go by Charlie. I've been called Carlitos, Chuck, Charles, fucking Carlingas, Carlitos Way. That's like a whole other thing. And it's like people never called me Carlos from the start of my life. So I've been called different things, and also again, just throughout life, like depending on where I'm at, somebody will refer to me as either maybe not a she. I don't think I've ever been called a she. If I did, it's probably weird, but definitely like change the pronouns that people call me, from like, hey, little essay, what's up, Vato? What's up, bro? What's up, dude? Hey, fucking Holmes. Like it was always like everybody had their own thing, dude, bro. Like it's a different. So it was never like people just called you what you really are. Nobody ever called you what you really named. That's kind of where I'm going with this. Is like to me, it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny how ridiculous it's gotten to the point where like we're discussing. This is a really dumb conversation. To be honest, I'm sorry. We're having a dumb conversation, but it's because it's a hot topic, and that's kind of what I think
have you ever been called something that you just don't feel comfortable with?
100%. Many times. That's my whole point. Life is fucking ridiculously, like arbitrarily mean. It doesn't
But,
give a shit. People are fucked
but
up.
that's the thing though, because we're just used to that idea that like, oh, there can't be that respect because it's just not natural. But for some of us, it is, and we respect that, and that's what we're trying to like support because it's just a way of like understanding that hey, the other person has feelings too. I acknowledge them, and I'm just you know helping them feel themselves in their own body. Because you don't get to choose, what you get assigned at birth because legally that's it. You get assigned uh, a gender at birth, but that doesn't necessarily when you grow up. That doesn't necessarily correspond with what you actually find yourself to be. Like for some people, for some of us, it's just, for example, for me, like being called a boy constantly, being held up to those standards. It just felt like I can't do that because I, it just feels fake for me. It doesn't feel like what I actually want to do and what I actually feel is right for me or for what I'm doing. And being reminded of that, of like, hey, you were supposed to feel this role. Like, it's that's why we call it a dead name. It's like
Oh
it's
yeah,
something that
I just learned that term. The fucking dead name. Like I guess people have been using that. Sorry, yeah, I
so.
learned it.
For example, this remember this coworker that we had, or that is my I'm not gonna say a name. Um, but they had one name. They had two names. They didn't want like one of them because they had just so much pressure and like stuff attached to that name.
Yeah.
And it's like growing up, everyone just has like, no, this isn't me. It's those like weird moments where it's like, for more that I'm trying, this just doesn't feel right for me. Like actually something I was talking about at um, our support group, and I'm sharing this because this is my story. Um, is that I remember growing up, like I had a nice childhood, maybe not so much like my teenage years, but nice childhood. And at one point, I remember a very very like lively moment for me that I just love it, and it was like sincere for me because I was just being my genuine self. That's the thing. Like I'm not again forced to like do something I just personally think is wrong for me, not for anyone else, but for me. And it's like it just kind of it's like sets me off. It's like why do I keep having to pretend just so that someone else feels comfortable? What about me feeling comfortable?
Yeah. Okay. So you said a lot of things, and I definitely am going to miss some good points that you made that I also have counterpoints to. But one of the biggest things is like you said is like why can't we respect that you have another person that's not like this one. The thing. And I think that I do respect that, but I think that for the people that I'm gonna put you on the spot, right? Because I'm gonna think about like I
Yeah,
really
you knew me way before like I even fully accepted it because I had a suspicion, I had my like thoughts, but I never even like accepted it at that point, and it was because of how I grew up.
yeah, but here's the thing though, like regardless of who you are or what you feel you are, as far as like your I'm guessing I don't even know because this is where it gets confusing. I don't even know if we're
Right.
talking about gender. I don't know if we're talking about like sexuality. I don't know what like that's where like to me it gets really fucking confusing. I'm like I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. But bottom line is you were born with a certain body. And I do
Right.
understand that sometimes, like, I don't feel like I'm in the right body either. Like, I was supposed to be like a different body. Like, I felt like I was supposed to be able to do other things that I just can't physically do. So I understand that 100%. And that's kind of my point, though. Is like, if I understand that, I think it's okay to feel that way, but it's also not okay for, like, tell me I'm buff. If I'm not, I'm not. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's the reality of it, and then there's the way that you feel about it, and I respect how you feel about it. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying that I should. So I guess I'm saying like making this like getting to crossing a line where like you're being bullyish about it, without like being hearted about it, or just being a fucking dick about it's not funny. It's fucked up. Obviously we tossed that word around, and it's probably not a good word to keep using, but I've used it since I was a kid, and shit like that is like now being used as fuel to attack people. I'm using it as fuel to get people to be like, what? Yeah, because it's really like, okay, it doesn't just my perspective again, just like I respect however you feel about your body and your gender and your sexuality and all of the personalities that you feel like you have inside. I feel like I understand them more than most people. I feel fucking the same. Like maybe I don't feel like I'm a different gender, but I feel like my body was kind of fucking off from the start when I was born. I was like, this just don't feel right. Not moving the way it should. I don't have like my brain's like do this and my hands are like I
So
can't.
that's
So
the
it's like
that's the thing, though, and I'm sorry, but I want to like start that because I think that is a very important point. That dysphoria is not like you're not seeing that. Oh, this is just you just have a feeling, in the way you want to express yourself, and it's not like being born for something or like wait, and no, but like I get it. Not everyone has the ideal body that they want, but it's just that it goes more into that in the fact that the way people grew up was that if you go against this, it's wrong, and a lot of us just have that stigma in ourselves. We have internal transphobia to the point where it's like we hear it outside, and it's like no, but you're this, and it just reminds you, like you start questioning yourself. It just becomes to the point where it's like it's too much, and you're not maybe asking because it comes off in a mean way, but it's like why do I why can we just respect ourselves in that way? Because at the end of the day, identity is something so basic. The fact that you can wear whatever you want and like be able to show the body that you want. Why is that like always criticized? Because that's where it gets.
well, that's the different thing though. That's like one. I'm just talking about like specifically just the pronoun thing, like just being called certain things that like I don't understand why that's so outraging to people, and I just think it's like again, I just want to have a conversation about it. I don't, you're not wrong. I'm not right. There's no right or wrong. It's just like information that's out there. I just think it's goofy and funny that people are outraged about it when I don't think it's that big of a deal. And I think that people that do think it's a big deal, and I think you might be on that side. I don't know for sure that it's like it's. I guess my filter through everything is like there's worse shit out there for me to be worried about your feelings. Not you specifically, but anybody's feelings. Like, but I do respect. And and actually, and then the second point, the other point is that like your physical appearance, your outlook, your the way you want to present yourself. I do the same thing. Like I'm all for it. I mean, obviously, you see me go through like different hairstyles and trends and like just a lot of things. I think that expressing yourself is a good thing. I think that just like people put on a suit tie to go to a certain place to go do a certain thing, I think you should also be 100% comfortable doing the opposite of that, putting on a whole different vibe. But again, the time and the place. We don't. You don't have to be.
Yeah, but at that point, it first of all, you don't feel personal with the person. Like if someone addressed you by you know your last name, it's like Mister your last name. It's, you feel like okay, this is an authority or whatever. Like no, please, just what are you doing? Are you even talking? Um,
So I do have to make one caveat just to make one point 100% clear though. Is like
uh,
I'm 100% behind to expressing not for me. I'm not gonna do it. You want to do it? Go for it. It's your body. The only caveat to that that I'm not okay with though is the same rule as a tattoo. You don't expect a 13-year-old to get a tattoo. You don't expect 13-year-olds to be able to change their sexuality or mutilate their body in any way, for their benefit or for their demise. It doesn't matter. They just shouldn't be allowed. Um, but other than that, turn 18, you want to chop your nuts off, or you want to fucking cover your badge up or whatever. I don't know what that shit is. But point being is that, like, that's you're right, and I'm 100% behind it. I just don't think it's like anybody else is good. You know what I'm saying? Right. If you're going through a thing and somebody misgenders you, I understand both sides. Is basically what I'm saying. But I think I'm leaning more towards the side of like, okay, but what does it really matter? Like, I could have just easily been like, hey, fuck you, asshole.
No, but here's the thing though, because not everyone expresses themselves like that. I know where you're going at because the media always has this portrayal of people freaking out. But that's the thing though. Right. If you want to stop something, if you want to like control it, it's like you're gonna show its good side. And obviously we have people that overreact, but most of us honestly just take it. And that's the thing. That's the problem. We just record it over and over, and it becomes like, in my like if it like hurts me and everyone just agrees that it's like, oh, we don't care if it hurts you. And like, yes, I understand, but I know it happens to everyone in a different way, but it's like, why are we endorsing that at all? It should be like just respect, like if you want to joke about it, but you have that confidence already, fine. But why like do it in public to where like you clearly see I'm trying to like be feminine and it's like
there you go. So I think that's where the difference is. There's like a line where like you said like public, right? So like if it's kind of weird because the public also like you could be at a bar and it still feels private. Like if you guys are at a booth, you're in public. But you could be at a table or whatever, talking shit, saying things like that are not politically correct. But there is a line where you're publicly shaming somebody, and I don't agree with that either. Like that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying like you could like I'm okay with using all the bad words, but I'm not okay with them being used to demean somebody. And if you're demeaning them in private, even that's not good. But if you're demeaning them in public, now you're just now that's the line that I'm saying. Like that's I think that's where we need to draw that line. It's like, okay, cool. Your hair, your whatever, your body, your image doesn't agree with me and my idea of what you should be. Keep it to myself. I don't need to fucking hey, what the fuck? Look at this fucking guy. Like I don't need to be doing that. You know, I guess I am. But my point is like there. I don't agree with bullying, but I don't think that you have to do. I don't think that sexuality necessarily has anything to do with it. I think it's just more like, are you just being a fucking bully? You know?
But here's the thing though, like again, most of the media just portrays our reaction, but they don't always portray what's happening first. Like I'll give you this example. We were at a very, very nice bar, like IPAs, and like it was just super fun and like even the staff was weird. We felt comfortable down there. And
By the
so
way, gay bars fucking I've had some of the best drinks.
here's the thing,
So sorry.
like just a lot of like hetero cis males, um, and like from nice areas that showed up, and it's like they started making jokes, but it's like everyone had at least one joke about it, and not a very peaceful joke. It's just like stereotypes and negative stereotypes, and it's just like like lowballing it. Like please take it. We know how to take a joke. Like not gonna lie, when we did transmissibility day, there was this one guy just that we have right too. But
Wait. Transvisibility Day? Is
yeah.
this like a thing? Like, yeah, I'm learning a lot of shit that
So if you want to learn more, because we have our own community, our own culture, our own understanding of things, and it's based on a lot of previous studies. But anyway,
and we is just specifically people transitioning from one sexuality to another one, or
it's just that we hang out with the people you most relate to. So we've all felt at one point. It's like we keep telling ourselves, it's like, yeah, it's still one thing, but like it keeps happening over and over, and we practically tell ourselves like we're talking and we're telling ourselves like those stories, and it's like at least one per day. There's always gonna be at least one person that's like, but this, but that, like giving their opinion. It's like fine, it's your opinion, but like if you're trying to ask the same for me, why can't you keep your opinion to yourself? If your opinion is that you don't like me asking to be called a woman, then why tell me just it becomes too much, because at the end of the day, it's like it's not hetero people hating on trans people, it's transgender people. It's always the title. It's always us the focus on
I
right word.
I do know where you're coming from with that, and as far as like with social media, because I do see that. You're absolutely right. I've seen both sides where like people are being assholes to like gay people or queer people or lesbians. Like I've seen all kinds of fucking things, but I'm also seeing the other side a lot more. Is where I'm agreeing with you. It's like I think the media, at least the major media, like actual news outlets and like popular fucking cringy YouTube channels and shit are usually posting their reactions of queer, gay, trans people extremely freaking out. I think it's also because it's kind of funny.
I
But
mean,
that's the whole point, though. Is like I think people are taking this shit too seriously. Just like I got called every fucking name in the book, and you're right. It's not the same thing. It's not comparing apples to oranges because it's not dealing with my like I'm just being misnamed, not so much being insulted. And there is a line. That's what I'm saying. I think there's a line, and that's what we need to establish. That it's like, okay, I might be calling you the wrong thing. You don't have to freak out if I'm not intending for you to be like freaked out. But there's a clear intention when people do those shit. And that's the other person, the person calling you the wrong thing. Like I mean, it's just like it gets weird, man. But I appreciate you having this conversation. There's a lot more to discuss there. I think it's a never-ending topic, so we're not going to drag this on. But I want to get
the thing
people.
is, I just want to clarify this because I
Yeah,
don't want to get too into because if we go into little details, it's like I can tell you the details about my story, but that isn't gonna apply to everyone. Everyone has their own story because everyone has their own definition of gender because you're taught and you learn it through TV, you learn it through your parents, you learn it through just society in general. Like if I told you, what is a man?
well, I disagree with that statement that because there really is only two genders, but there's a lot of sexuality that gets through.
No,
A
but
lot of
sexuality and sex aren't the same either.
they're not absolutely 100%.
And gender and sex aren't the same thing
Nope,
either.
they're all different. That's kind of the thing. It's like people are confusing all these things, and I think that's where the problem. People are not really using this the whole ideology of me having to call you anything is just ridiculous because just the fact that we have a language that changes constantly, you know? It's like you can't expect everybody to keep up with the language because it's changed. And I'll give you another example that, again, I might be thinking of this the wrong way. I might be ignorant. It sounds like I'm kind of a fucking ignorant bigot right now because I'm just saying to myself talking. But the point is like, we're like, oh, just like people misnaming, misgendering, shit. Like, just being mislabeled for a lot of different reasons it's been going on forever. But the fact that, oh, the slang, that's what it is. Like, I hear words now that I'm like, what the fuck? What is that? Because I'm older now and the slang changed. So, like, even like just having a conversation with somebody younger is weird because they're using words that I don't fucking, I use words that they don't fucking. some people's intention is just to get attention.
Thing is, though, this isn't something new. This isn't slang. This isn't just us, saying stuff. This is stuff that has actually been studied in the past, way before.
But, yeah.
And
So there's only two genders. There's a lot of different sexualities and sexual preferences and sexual proclivities and all of that. But there's only two genders.
but that's the thing, though. What is a gender?
The gender is isn't it like a physical trait of a human body? Even
Well, what if? Okay, that is wrong in itself.
isn't it?
Um, it is because gender is something that is perceived. Imagine if you found someone that is so androgynous to the point that you literally just can't
There
tell
you go. That's what
what
I'm
their
saying.
sex is, which at the end of the day shouldn't really matter because what we're talking about is like you have your own identity. Like you go out in public and have everyone question like, "Hey, why are you Carlos?" You don't have that confidence. Like, no, but what's your real name? No one ever asked. I go out
Well,
as
you just said
Angelique,
it.
and
Just literally just said it, bro. You should have the right to do whatever you want. Like,
but you're talking about me though. You're referring to me when you say when you misgender me. And again, it can happen as a mistake. I get that. And we're not trying to freak out. Not everyone freaks out. You know what? Some people also have mental health issues, which is a real problem.
oh well,
Some people have like
that
genuine bipolar disease or like limit for their personality stuff.
I think
And it get mixed up and it's like you're not only misrepresenting trans people, you're misrepresenting people with mental health issues.
again, that's where like I get that's where everything gets melted in, and now we're overlapping into. I also believe that this whole problem with people accepting their own sexuality and having to force other people to try to affirm that is a mental issue. I think it really is. So I think it's okay to have those mental issues. That's what I'm trying to get at. It's like the same way I don't expect somebody with a physical handicap to do something that's impossible for them. I don't expect you to change your sexual preferences for me, but I also am not going to go out of my way to make it difficult for a handicapped person to do what it takes to do. If anything, I'll try to assist them. Just like with a gay person, I'm not going to go out of my way to stop you from doing whatever makes you happy. But I'm also like, I'm not inclined to help you, but I'm also like, okay, you're business. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what we can't stop it from misgendering and mislabeling.
But here's the thing though,
The
it's just
mental
that
issues, the sexuality, and the name. There's three different topics, you know.
that's the thing though. Mental health does not mean mental illness. Neurodivergence is a thing. It doesn't mean you're wrong. There is no such thing as normal. Like honestly, people's minds are so diverse that haven't fully understood how they work. It's that complex, and we can't assume everyone works the same. And so for certain people, it sparks something inside them, something different. And not only that, it's again, it's just the idea that you grow up with because it's just so programmed. Because it doesn't sound like it's just like it's natural, man and a woman. It sounds like that. But when you start to realize that it's just something so programmed, especially since the 60s, where a man has to be like this, a woman has to be like this, and if you're anything besides that, that's wrong because you're not spending the money on the right things, you're not following the right pattern that is going to help, the big capitalism machine.
On that note,
It's just a lot of things on why this is the case.
I'm gonna wrap it up on that note, but 100% agree. And again, really thank you for coming and hanging out and having this conversation because it is a hot button thing. I enjoyed this. It's getting late, so I gotta definitely call it a night. Appreciate you coming over to have a conversation, and definitely we should do it again. Probably a lot earlier. Get a little bit
Yeah.
more into it. But yeah, any final thoughts before wrapping up?
Uh, Honestly, just investigating more about trans people, not in a judgmental way. Don't look up a Fox, please. That's not going to help you.
Don't look anything on any mainstream media. Anything.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Avoid that 100%. You'll be all right. You might not be all right, but you'll learn something a little
Talk
bit.
to people, please. Talk to people.
I think that should be the last quote. So thank you very much, everybody, and that should be it. Go talk to people. Go find out what's up. Be cool. Everybody, thank you for hanging out. It's another episode of Xharlie Talks. Peace.
Bye.